Everyone, there was just something on my mind that I wanted to talk about. It's a bit nerdy, but I think it's interesting, and hopefully you find it interesting as well. It's the concepts or training methodologies that I find quite often clash in the strength and conditioning world. So what I'm talking about here is the CrossFit style, constantly varied approach to programming and training. Then we also have the classic strength and conditioning, linear progression, progressive overload approach to training. And quite often I think they are perceived to be at odds with each other, and that one is better than the other, and that one should be done more than the other, or in that there's some way superior to the other. Personally, it's very much to do with your goals. Okay, so surprise, surprise, it depends. That's pretty much the answer to most questions when it comes to how to train and what's the best way to train. So when it comes to this topic, if your goal is to get progressively fit over the course of your life, become as fit in as many different time domains, modalities, that's just ways of fitness, so methods of training. So, and you're wanting to become as strong in as many different areas as possible. In other words, CrossFit, the constantly varied approach is the best way, okay? The linear progression, the progressive overload is valuable. I believe only if you're wanting to target a certain lift, you've maybe identified a lift that you know needs work. You're maybe training for a specific sport that requires a certain movement pattern that is benefited by a particular movement that you need to strengthen and build power and explosiveness in. That's where I believe the linear progression and that progressive overload method comes into play and is much more useful. That being said, we have to be open to all methods of training, and I think that dipping in and out is a great way to have variance within your programming. So, how does this apply to us? How does this apply to me? How does it apply to my programming? Well, when it comes to my method of programming, fit for purpose training is a strength and conditioning program based off of the principles of CrossFit. I think the CrossFit methodology is the best way to get broad, general fitness that applies to everything that we do in life, but also it fills in the most gaps possible by doing one training methodology. Okay, that's what I want fit for purpose training to be. So your workout of the day in fit for purpose training will be with that in mind. Your workout of the day will not, by and large, be based off a linear progression or progressive overload. The reason for that is that the workouts that we have that built in, okay? So you might not see from Monday to Monday to Monday to Monday a progression of back squat 5x3 at 85%. You'll then the next week have 5x3 at 87.5%, or whatever, those are just examples. But the idea there being is you might not see back squat every week, but what you will see is overhead squat, you'll have front squat, you'll have back squat, you'll have air squats, you'll have lunges, you'll have box step ups, you'll have deadlifts, you'll have thrusters. All of these movements, which are profoundly functional, you will see them in the program. You will see them at a bunch of different loadings, time domains, rep ranges. And what those will do is contribute to your strength, stability, and overall ability in the back squat. So that when we come round to testing the back squat again, your back squat will have gone up, all right? And you'll be like, why has my back squat gone up? I haven't been working on it specifically, but you have been working on it. So that's where constantly varied training comes in so well, because not only have you been working on your squat, you've also been working on your positioning at the bottom of a squat. You'll have been working on your upper back mobility with the overhead squat, your front squat. You'll have been working on your pressing strength with your thruster, with wall balls, with even that overhead squat's going to give you a better overhead position, along with developing your squat. So really what we're looking at here is movement transference, and it's the ability to use one movement to improve a seemingly completely different movement. And that is one of the things I find so amazing about CrossFit and this methodology, that you can improve your back squat 5 rep max without having to follow a 12-week back squat program. That's not to say that a 12-week back squat program doesn't have value. It's just for what we are looking for, which is broad, general, and increased capacity across those increased capacity across all of those domains. It's a no-brainer to try and hit as many different movements as possible while increasing your back squat. Okay. Now, when do we use the progressive overload and the linear progressions? Whenever you have a movement that you know is is a pretty big gap in your fitness. So if you know that a deadlift is something that you fall really short on, and in comparison to all the rest of your movements, the deadlift is lacking, that's where we can maybe insert one of these linear progressions to work on that specifically, because there's maybe a technique or a mechanic that needs worked on and that needs repetition to build smoother movement, more efficient movement, and build your ability in that lift specifically. So as always, when it comes to these things, guys, it very much depends on your goals, but I do think you can have an element of both within the same program, as long as you're being wise with the amount of training that you're putting in. And that's where I can come in and kind of give you a bit of a hand, and help you understand, well, how can we not overload the system but still fill these gaps in, and get that broad fitness that we're aiming for. So guys, I know it was not too long. I mean, it depends how long you want to watch me ramble on, but I hope you find it interesting. I love this stuff, as you know, so I'd be more than happy to have a chat about it at any time. Well, maybe not any time. We can grab a coffee. But I will speak to you soon. Take it easy. Have a good week. Bye.